I'm going to talk today about some simple tips on what you can do to get better quality videos without spending a single penny on a piece of gear. What is up, everybody? I hope you're having an amazing day. Let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Nick Fitzgerald. I am the founder of Friendly Giant Films. I'm a husband, father, best-selling author, and a storytelling marketer, and I work with heart-centered e-com sellers and entrepreneurs to have a product that they know changes lives and can have a huge impact on the world, and I help them tell or sell more of that amazing product through powerful storytelling. Today I want to talk to you about something that I get asked a lot about how my videos look good. And so, as a filmmaker and a professional videographer and things like that, I want to give these quick tips on things that you can do right this second. As soon as you finish watching this video, you can do these immediately without having to spend a single penny on a piece of gear or software or anything. Before I jump into that, let me just give you a little bit of background into me. In 2015, I started working on film sets, and since then I've worked on 14 feature films, 2 network television series, a ton of commercials, and was a freelance photojournalist. And during all of that time, especially on my film set days, I was working in grip and electric, which is the lighting crew, setting up the lights, crafting and shaping and controlling the light and adjusting and doing all these things so that the movies and shows looked really good.
Really nice.
Back in 2018, when I started doing Facebook Lives and being consistent and publishing every day, I started to get people immediately asking me, what camera are you using? What are you doing on your Facebook Lives? They look so good. It was funny because I wasn't doing anything out of the ordinary. I was just doing normal things and using, of course, my expertise. Now, the first thing lots of people ask me, especially when they're starting to, make their own videos or they're going to be doing these things, is they ask me, what camera should I get? Or what kind of camera are you using? For recording this video, I use a Canon 5D Mark III. Most people don't have that capability or have those resources. I want to tell you how you can just make your visuals look better with the camera that you have in your phone or in your MacBook or your laptop, or if you just have a little webcam. The first tip that I have for you guys to immediately change the look of your videos and level up is to raise the height of your camera. If you're looking at me right now, the camera is at eye level. It's just a little bit above eye level, right? So if you have a laptop, don't have it sitting down on the desk and you sitting right above it, because you're looking down on the camera. It's not a very flattering angle. It's looking down, looking up at you. We're seeing all of your boogers or your nose hairs, things like that as it looks up your nose. And as you look down at it, you get the double chin action going on. So elevate your camera. Bring it up at least to eye level or as close to eye level as you can. I know if you have an expensive laptop, putting a bunch of boxes underneath it or pillows or whatever, that can be a little nerve-wracking. But I promise you that if you lift up and raise the height of your camera, it will immediately change the aesthetic and you will look more flattering. The second thing also has to do with positioning your camera and yourself within the camera. As you can see right now, I am in the frame. I'm a little bit off-centered. I don't have a bunch of space above my head. How many times have you watched a live or watched a video of somebody and they're sitting, but their camera is positioned so there's all of this space? Don't do that because it's distracting. There's a lot of extra, it's just unnatural, and those kinds of things have an effect on the audience. So what I do is follow, and this is like cinematography 101, it's called the rule of thirds. Now imagine on this screen that it was divided into 3 sections vertically and horizontally, and there's a grid on this screen. If you look where I am at, I am not centered right in the middle. That's not bad. It's not terrible, but I like to be off-centered because it's a little bit different than everybody else that you're going through and seeing on your newsfeed. But then also, it's just a very conversational angle. Position yourself on one of the thirds. Now, the same thing. If there's a grid going horizontally across the screen like this, you can see that my eye level is really close to the line that would divide the top section from the middle section. Position your eye line in that. If we drew this into thirds right here, and then thirds across, this part of my face right here is pretty close to where those sections would intercross. So follow the rule of thirds. It will help you dramatically, and it looks so much more natural. It looks more professional as well. If you're doing this on your phone, follow the same principles. Elevate, and then also position yourself in a way that you're not having lots of headroom above your head. Balance yourself vertically. The second thing is all about lighting. Lighting makes a big difference in the way that you look. How many of you have watched a live stream or seen a story or even just any type of video that was too dark? Or you couldn't quite really make out the person's face very well. Or they had the sun right behind them and that was super bright, but their face was dark. You've seen those time and time again. We've all been guilty of doing it at one point or another. Lighting makes a huge difference. And like I said, when I worked in film, I worked primarily in the lighting departments, grip and electric. And there's a reason why movies take a long time to produce. And it's because there's a lot of setup to get the lighting just right and perfect. Now I know you don't have the time to go and learn all the concepts of lighting. You don't have the budgets to go and buy tons of lights. So I want to show you and tell you how you can actually use light to your advantage without spending any money. There's this magical thing that we interact with every single day, and it is called the sun. The sun is a free light source that never goes away. Use natural lighting to your advantage. This right now, this is all natural lighting. I have the lights on the Christmas tree in the background, but I am lit with light that's coming from windows in my office here. I have 3 windows right here, and I have a window behind me, behind my right shoulder. That is what's lighting this whole scene. Whenever you have a good light source, so go in your home or your office or whatever it is, a place that you like to do your lives, and find a good natural light source. Wherever your light source is, I'm not facing directly light. If I was to face the light directly, this is it, right? But I'm wanting to angle the light because I like contrast in my face. How many of you have seen people whose faces are all blown out, or it's just flat looking? It's because they have light blasting across their whole face. If you see this, I've got the key light. Most of the light hits me here. I have just a little bit of shadows on this side of my face. Contrast. It's a cinematic thing. You see it all the time. The only places you don't really see it on TV are in newscasts. They blast so much light on those reporters and they wear so much makeup, because the standards for news are insane. You don't have to do that. Contrast is good. It's natural. And again, it has a psychological effect on the audience. So find natural light. Do whatever you can to let as much natural light in where you're at and utilize it. Now, the thing to not do with natural light, if it's really bright outside, do not position the light source behind you and shoot your video. How many of you have watched a Facebook Live or any type of video and there's an open window and it's super bright outside and their face looks okay, but everything else is super bright? Or you've watched it and you can see outside in the window and see their yard and things like that really nicely, but their face is almost black and you can't see it. Don't point your camera directly at the light source. Use the light source to light you, not shine into your camera. So we have positioning your camera appropriately. Raise the height, use the rule of thirds, and then use natural light. The last step, and this is something that is overlooked by tons of people, even as people, when I started out professionally wanting to do videos and things like that, is something that I overlooked even. Okay, it's something that's super easy not to think about or consider, but it is one of the most crucial. You can have things that will look amazing and be super cinematic, but if you skip this step or overlook it, it could do more harm to your video than any good. That last thing is sound. Right now for this, I'm using my Blue Yeti USB mic for the audio for it, and it does a great job. There are lavalier mics and lapel mics, and there are shotgun mics, and all these different types of way to capture your audio. But not everybody has that budget or has those things. So here's what you can do. A few simple things that you can do and be mindful of that will make your audio better, and you don't have to spend any money. First off is whenever you go live or you're shooting a video, do not compete with background sound. Find a place that is as quiet as it can be. Now, what I mean by this is if you're in the airport or you're somewhere in a public space when there's a lot of people, you do not want to be shooting a video where you're talking or trying to share something and competing with all of that background noise, all of the conversations, all of the hustle and bustle, all of the announcements, all of those things. It becomes really hard for your audience to focus and hear and pay attention to what you're saying. So find a place and avoid crowded, loud public spaces if at all possible. If you can't, there are some things you can do to try and mitigate some of that sound noise. And that is basically wherever the sound is coming from, make sure that your microphone or your input or where your audio is not pointed towards it so it's catching it. So if you're at a concert or an event and there's a stage of speakers and loud music coming, like don't have it behind you so that those sound waves go right into your mic. Position your hand a little bit lower on the phone so that you can block some, and then turn with that sound in front of you. That will help block a little bit. It's not going to remove it, so don't say, I tried it and there's still a bunch of sound. There's going to be sound, but if you're in a pinch and you have to do it, use that trick. The next thing is just work on your voice and your delivery. You're confident in what you're talking about, you're teaching, you're giving value, whatever it is that you're doing in these videos, speak with authority. Let me show you the difference. This is me talking and teaching. I'm in Professor Nick mode, right? But if I were to talk like, so if you want to place your camera a little bit higher, and then use the rule of thirds, and then find some good natural lighting and be mindful of the sound. You see the difference? Like it's hard even with the quiet that I have. It's not engaging. It's not going to get people. So speak up, have your energy, and the sound will improve. It's super simple. Like those are 4 simple things that you can do right this second. As soon as you're done watching this, go and test it. Tag me in it. I'd love to see it. To sum up, raise the height of your camera. If you can, get it as close to eye level, if not a little bit above eye level. If you're not close enough, is close enough, but don't have it just sitting on your laptop or on your desk or your table where the camera's looking up at your face. Next is use the rule of thirds. Position yourself in a way that you don't have tons of room over your head and that you fit naturally within the frame. Next is use natural light sources. Use natural light whenever possible. If you can't and you have to use a lamp or a light or something like that, do not position it directly over your head. Make sure that it's in a complementary angle. And then lastly, sound. Be aware of your sound. Do not compete against background noises in other places. Find a quiet sound control place as much as you possibly can. And then speak with authority and with energy, and that will translate and carry through. So those are my tips for you guys of something you can do right this very second to improve the look and the feel of your videos without having to buy a single piece of gear. I hope that those tips were helpful for you. Drop me a comment and let me know if you found any value or if they were helpful at all. Make sure you subscribe as well, because I'm going to be dropping more of these kinds of tips to help you guys get started and get stuff done right now. When you have a great looking video, it's important to have a great sounding message to go along with it. So I would love to offer to you guys absolutely free, if you go to friendlygiantfilms.com, you can get my free storytelling for business framework. This is the 9 crucial steps that help you connect with your audience on an emotional level, that help you get the results that you want by telling your stories, helping people understand who you are, how you help them, and what your products and services can do for them. You need to have that message dialed in, and you can get started with it with my absolutely free guide that is available right now at friendlygiantfilms.com. It has helped hundreds of entrepreneurs over the last few months to really start to dial in and get good at their messaging so they have confidence and so that they can go forward and help and serve the people that they were called and meant to serve. I promise you that as you put your story first, as you apply these tips, that you are going to start getting more attention, more than you thought was possible. And it'll start happening immediately. Learn to tell your story in a way that gets your audience to understand who you are and what results your products get for them. Go to storytellingframeworks.com and get started today.